I'm sorry, I'm so damn sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
I sense that Mr. Peru is about to surprise us too.
I believed in him. I followed him to the best of my ability. I championed his ideas, defended his decisions, and then, without even realizing it, I became lost.
Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you?
Video game development is hard, I get it, but if I couldn't stop the necklace from warping like that, I wouldn't make the warping necklace the only thing on the screen.
No. I am Emily. You are wasting your time. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart.
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room, and she isn't answering.
Louis, you really must learn to conceal your weaknesses better, if you don't want your foes to use them against you.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
It is the natural order of things, Monsieur de Richet. There have always been men who govern other men. That is simply the way it is.
History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents.
I feel like everyone should be saying congratulations and start clapping. And that's my first Evangelion reference of the video. See if you can catch all three, and if you do, I'll send you a glossy JPEG of your choosing. I really like the design of the crypt. It's vast and crumbling, and it kind of feels like a Dark Souls level.
But where are we?
I don't know, but we better not hang around.
This game can't highlight text correctly when there's more than one line.
Do you know what we're looking for?
We have to find that weapon. What do you know about the Holy Lance, Louis?
I know it gets sent to the moon and then it comes back for the third impact. If you could clear that up, Ma, I'd appreciate it.
What?
The Lance of Longinus the Centurion.
Now that you mention it, I did catch Von Wollner in the middle of an altercation with Piaggi.
What?
Von Wollner blamed His Eminence for having supplied Mortimer with all the lances in the Vatican's possession.
If Mortimer has all of them in his possession, it's not going to help us.
Seriously? You don't really believe that fable, do you?
Every fable is founded on true events.
Paul Bunyan was based on a real guy, but in real life, he was 5'11", and his ox was steel.
I'm not saying that everything adds up, but imagine if it really did exist.
Very well. Now what?
Well, now you know what you need to find.
Pardon?
I have to get to the wharf to prepare our departure. Let's get off this cursed island as quickly as we can. We shall come back when we are ready and armed.
But hang on.
Louis, let's first get to safety. We shall come back when we have the upper hand. Fear not. You take care of getting the lance. It's imperative. I'll take care of preparing our departure.
Hang on. At least tell me everything you know about this lance.
But I have never seen it. There's nothing else I can say, Louis. Well, you can always go snooping around Mortimer's study. I remember seeing paintings of Longinus there.
I know it was a few months between updates, but remember that lady you shot? Twice?
Hang on a second.
What's the matter?
Why did you shoot Emily's sister?
Do you really think now is the right time for this?
You know what? You're right. You shot her 4 whole hours ago. Past is in the past.
Why did you betray her?
Listen, Louis, I don't think you've really understood my interest in the Al-Azif. It's not just simple curiosity about some old relic.
You tried to kill her.
And I had no choice, for crying out loud. It must not fall into the hands of the demons, or we are all doomed, don't you see? Listen, I don't know exactly what it contains, but I prefer to be one step ahead. If they want it, there must be a reason. And even if I don't know what it is, I want to stop them for safety's sake, no matter what.
Nothing will stop you if I understand correctly. Not even—
Enough, Louis. If you could see the extent of their power as I do, then you would understand what I'm saying.
Alright, we'll do it your way.
One more thing. If they find you in possession of the lance, they won't let you get away with it. Choose only one and hide it under your jacket so you don't get caught with it. Then run and meet me on the wharf.
And if I get caught?
If they catch you in possession of the lance, we're all doomed. Do you understand?
Perfectly.
Good. And go talk to Piaggi. He's the one who probably knows the most about this.
Oh, the art director of this game was also a writer on it. As I always say, multidisciplinarianism rocks. Also, that's just like a consequence of being an indie studio, I suppose. Real quick, I'm going to show off one of the lances in the crypt. There's about a dozen, so I'm not going to show you all of them on video.
I can see that this lance has the characteristic shape of a spear. It is made of iron, and its tip is engraved with a cross.
They call this place the crypt, and it's not just to be foreboding. There's actual sarcophaguses in here.
This sarcophagus is engraved with the name of Clemens III. Good God! The one whose cross allowed me to enter. Clemens III. Clément III in French. How come his tomb ended up here and not in the Vatican?
I don't know, Louis. How about you tell me?
He was basically an anti-pope. His path to the throne was pretty turbulent, and he had to be enthroned several times. The result of a long conflict between the papacy and the Holy Empire. That was the Pope from the Middle Ages who inspired the Third Crusade. He gave the Roman people the power to elect their magistrates. This sarcophagus is beautifully made, but ancient. Stone is marked by the passage of time, but it's really well preserved.
We have some historical celebrities in our midst. I wonder who's over in those, like, isolated tombs in the distance. Maybe, Simon Foreman, that occultist who attempted to cure people with astrology. He seems like he'd be friends with Mortimer.
This one has no name. I wonder who it was for.
I mean, you always need an extra coffin. I read somewhere that people just flop out of the bottom of these things, like, all the time. And 20% of the time, they're nude. You know, the staircase we descended to get here wasn't that deep. I mean, you could still see sunlight in the tunnel, so we can't be more than like 7 feet underground. You know, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be a dick about how deep underground we are and how feasible this crypt is. I like the art direction. The tall, imposing towers and the kind of sense of grandeur reminds me of like some specific Beksinski art.
Flavius Aetius. Flavius Aetius, the one they call the last of the Romans. He was assassinated by his own emperor, who was jealous of all his victories. But how did he end up here?
I, too, have been bullied and harassed my whole life for being a talented winner. The slings and arrows of all of my haters cannot bring me down.
The sarcophagus has been ravaged by time. It's sort of ageless, I guess. It's entirely sculpted.
Do you think Mortimer tried to cultivate this grand topiary on top of the sarcophagus before realizing that it's deep underground with no light or water?
Is this the tomb of a king? Judging by all the sculpted symbols of power, this is really ancient. The inscriptions are all eroded. I don't know what those marks mean, but maybe a stone or epitaph. These symbols, these grooves, cuneiform script. This is humanity's oldest alphabet, the language of Babel. Sadly, no one today even knows how to decipher it. There's also some text engraved beneath in ancient Greek, Sargon,
I think he died after owning too many libs. I checked in on Sargon to see what his bigoted ass is up to. Turns out he's making YouTube videos explaining the politics of Demolition Man. Thank you for analyzing that very subtle film with your big, veiny brain. Now, look at this pedestal with the torch lamps and the kind of framing of the baluster. There's no way this one isn't a red herring. My initial suspicion was that the center ones like symbolize Jesus and there's two more on the side. So I was thinking like the thieves that were crucified with him, and maybe you'd have to go to the penitent thief and that was the correct one, but I'll show you the actual solution in just a bit. Because, ooh, what do I see here?
The sarcophagus of Lord Mortimer.
Mortimer is a Dracula, or at least he's Draculor.
It's the only sarcophagus in this crypt which appears to bear the Mortimer family name. What ancestor can it be? There's no inscription. Let's see what we can find here. Ha! Great! Now let's see what's inside.
They say a jelly-lined coffin keeps you warm on cold nights. Anyway, let's visit Piaggi.
Cardinal's not in his room. I bet he went back to stuffing himself.
Rude. Speaking of which, I hate that song. I don't think the concept of a spite marriage is particularly romantic.
Poor health for joining you. Please thank Sir Gregory for his invitation to Lord Mortimer's. I'm convinced you'll be able to strengthen our agreements. Please tell Sir Gregory that his enterprise concerning our friend Cardinal Bishop Chiaramonti is following its course. I place my trust in you. May God bless you and give you protection.
That bishop they're describing will go on to be Pope Pius XII, who will later be exiled by Napoleon. This game is teaching me that in the 19th century there were only like 12 people and they all knew each other.
His Holiness Pope Pius VI by Pompeo Pettonia. This should help Piaggi feel at home. Torquemada. Quite the contrast. Wow. The fanatical priest who created the Inquisition sends shivers down the spine.
I suppose Piaggi is a land of contrast.
Golden Elixir. Venus and Cupid with a satyr by Correggio. Innocence, indiscretion, and lechery. Giuseppe must love that.
If Piaggi's big secret is that he's horny, I mean, good for him. Honestly, there's so many worse things that a Catholic official could be hiding. This is, dare I say it, wholesome.
Love Triumphant by Caravaggio. Now there's someone for whom the sex of angels is no mystery. A Byzant from the Byzantine Empire, a coin often used during the St. Louis era. Amber Crystals. The Lying Girl by Boucher. Here's a painting of mischievous eroticism. I wonder what Piaggi must think of this. The Rape of the Daughters of Leucippus by Rubens. Surprising choice for His Eminence Piaggi.
Excuse me, Louis, were you a personal friend of St. John? Do you know for a fact he wasn't submissive and breedable? I think not.
John the Baptist, Youth with a Ram, by Caravaggio. A very sensual vision and very far from the usual representations of St. John.
Real mature, Louis. Real mature. Louis is getting all hot and bothered. I think he might need some fresh air.
Let's have a look at his personal papers. Of course, it's in Latin, the language of the church. All those hours of learning Latin declensions are going to pay off in the end. Mother will be proud. Now this could be interesting. Let's say a sancte, various representation criteria, of which are shown the most common throughout the centuries, and in different forms. If Piaggi's notes are anything to go by, the weapon I'm looking for is shaped like a tapered spear. That should help me identify it.
Okay, so the spear is spear-shaped. That's more than nothing, I suppose. As we approach Piaggi, look how the lighting changes. By the time we reach him, it's going to be like 2 in the afternoon.
Your Eminence, would you have a moment to spare?
Not now, Louis. Please, leave me alone.
I beg your pardon?
I want to be alone.
Very well. I'm only searching for information about the lance of Longinus, the soldier. If you could...
You're not listening to me. You are playing with fire.
I heard you speak to Mr. von Wollner about it, and I was wondering if you could tell me something about it.
That was a private conversation. How could I have known that he was listening to us?
I see what you mean.
Louis, don't push it. Leave while you still can.
Your Eminence, are you all right? Your Eminence, are you with me? Can you turn around, please?
What do you want to know about the Holy Lance, Louis?
Your Eminence, turn around.
This is the weapon used by a Roman centurion on the very day Christ was nailed to the cross.
Look at me.
Longinus thrust his lance in the right side of Jesus.
Please.
As you wish.
His nose is bleeding.
So you are looking for the Holy Lance of Longinus, are you?
Last episode, we were warned that some people might be possessed by demons, and in this episode, Piaggi is acting weird and bleeding from the nose like he's unleashed psychic powers. I would suspect him, but what kind of demon would want to be in Piaggi's body? Ugh.
Your Eminence, you're worrying me. What is happening to you?
Nothing, Louis. Just a moment of weakness, but I'm better now. I am all ears. You are looking for the lance. You should know, you are not the only one. Lord Mortimer has spent a good part of his life and his fortune trying to... Never will he let you have it. But tell me, before going any further, have you spoken to anyone else about this?
Piaggi is susceptible to no, but completely immune to no. Really, tone makes all the difference.
Yes, my mother knows about it.
Of course, Sarah. Who else?
No one else.
What are you going to use the lance for, exactly?
So I'll give you a second to read the options, but this is another false choice, by which I mean no one in their right mind would choose anything other than demon slaying.
If I told you why I needed this lance, you would never believe it.
Trust me, you can tell me anything.
It's our only chance to vanquish the demons.
Oh my dear God, Louis. You sound just like Sarah. Do you realize you are following the same path? Step by step. Sarah also started by imagining things. She too spoke of demons, I am told. She could no longer speak to anyone, and saw a hidden monster in every guest, lurking in the shadows, ready to devour her. You must let us help you. Louis, I thank you for your sincerity. I shall answer you about Longinus. You deserve to be told. His spear-headed lance did indeed pierce the side of the Messiah. His blood gushed out, covering the head of the lance. It was covered in the blood of Christ.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Eminence.
You are welcome. Be careful, Louis. You are on a perilous path. Don't follow Sarah's demons, man. Don't delve too deeply into her delusions, or you won't be able to come back. The demons that she is frantically trying to drive away are in her own mind. Take good care of yourself. Keep you.
Mother told us to investigate Mortimer's office for clues, so let's obey our mumsy and get some brownie points.
Adoration of the Shepherds with Saints Longinus and John. Giulio Romano, 1534. Longinus is holding the Holy Lance in his left hand, and I'll bet he's holding the sponge soaked in holy blood in the other hand. Yes! Here we can see that the Holy Lance is represented in the shape of a spear.
A spear-shaped spear? I don't believe it.
I better make sure I check this twice. It's a work that dates from the Renaissance. There's nothing to say that it's not based on erroneous elements. This work is an order from Lord Mortimer. All the details have been conceived with a specific goal in mind. Upon closer examination, you can see that even the style clashes with that of most of the other works in the manor. No, if Mortimer has taken special care as the conception and the exhibition of this painting in his study, in the same way as for the nightmare painting, it must be of some significance. And that is indeed the true shape of the Holy Lance, a spear shape.
I like that you have to spend points to distrust it, and then spend more points to confirm that no, you were right the first time.
But I believe what I read in the letter from Milan addressed to Mortimer. There's every reason to believe that this painting has been modified according to his guidelines to represent the true shape of the Holy Lance, a spear shape.
Mortimer also has a statue of Longinus, which probably makes him the only person in the world to own a statue of Longinus.
Saint Longinus. Let's take a closer look at his lance. It is shaped like a leaf, like the real lance maybe. How can I be sure? No, this is too easy. Mortimer's trying to throw me off the track again. It seems too visible to be true. Impossible not to see the statue on first glance, given its size. And Mortimer has no interest in making the shape of the true lance so easy to see.
Let's spend 5 whole effort points to look at something with our special eyes.
Hey, looks like there's a symbol engraved on the tip. Yes, a fish. The Christian fish, no doubt. It can't be a coincidence. It must have been done on purpose. Huh. Good thing I took a closer look. I think this statue does represent Longinus, armed with a lance that wounded Jesus. The Holy Lance. How can I find out if this is an exact representation? There's no way of being certain of it.
So, we believe that the symbol is real, but the shape is a lie. I don't know how we came to that conclusion, but the protagonist said so, and I'm inclined to listen.
It seems like he isn't here.
Now, let's go check on our other occultist, Von Vollner. Hey, who wants to do some reading? Not me. That's why I play video games that aren't Disco Elysium.
What a mess. Looks like Vollner was interrupted.
You can read it now if you want, but to summarize, Gregory is saying, hey, Von Vollner, we stole the Necronomicon to get it away from Mortimer, not to learn its unspeakable truths, you silly.
What you recovered for me, it must be about the Al-Azif. Vollner told me that he had managed to find it. What a mess. Looks like Volnor was interrupted.
Hey, so remember when we gave Vonner the code to Mortimer's office? Well, it looks like our friend has some sticky fingers.
Those are the maps that Lord Mortimer had on the wall in his room.
So if no one's here, I guess all we can do is have a look around and maybe some light thievery.
So, let's see what Volnor has in his bookcase.
Infinite Jest? That's a red flag. Am I right, upper middle class white ladies of Twitter?
Not surprising. Most of these works are in German, and one in Latin. Longini Militis Fabulum. Ah, what have we here? It looks like a kind of biography on Longinus the Centurion. Truly, Volnor has done everything he can to get information about that lance. I'd better keep this one, though.
Damn,
That's all I need. Maybe he knows something about the lance.
what are you doing in my room?
Nothing weird. Just trying to wield a weapon from heaven against God's enemies.
Well, sir, I see you have some captivating books, and you seem to be rather interested in the famous Longinus.
It's, what's it to do
I
with you?
overheard you speaking with Piaggi. What are you two up to exactly?
Fine. Yes. We are looking for the Holy Lance. That imbecile has given Mortimer all the ones kept in the private collection of the Holy See. But it's not what you think. Hang on a minute. You're the one looking for the lance.
No,
Don't take me for a fool. You are looking for the Holy Lances.
Love that bottom right option. Yeah, I'm not trying to steal anything. I'm trying to steal one specific thing. So what's the problem?
What's the matter? You seem completely panicked at the idea I might be interested in this relic.
No, that's not true.
What are you so afraid of?
I'm not afraid.
You know Mortimer's got it, so you're not worried that I'd give it back to him.
What are
so
you?
Why are you so terrified of me being able to find it?
You have no idea what it is you're looking for. What are you playing at, Richet? Mortimer's the one who has that cursed lance.
How long have you been looking for it?
I see. You want it, and so you plan to steal it from Mortimer.
For a long time. Isn't that right?
Why, you little swine! You're planning to give it to Sir Gregory. You're looking to double-cross me and Piaggi too.
What on earth is he talking about?
I wasn't sure what option to choose here, but beyond anything else, I'm here to protect my elderly total child Piaggi, who I just learned gets horny sometimes.
Mr. Von Volner, would you be so kind as to calm yourself down, please? All I'm trying to do is make amends for His Eminence's errors. Sir Gregory should surround himself with better people, if you want my opinion, but Piaggi is a friend of my mother's.
What? You want to help Piaggi?
I just told you that's what my mother would do if she was here. I heard you in the corridor, and he seemed to be in serious trouble because of the lance. I'm only trying to help him.
All right, Louis. I thought you were trying to manipulate me. But please, excuse me. I got a little bit carried away. But you can't get ahead by staying in the shadows on a case like this. There are already several of us searching for the lance of Longinus. And it would be smarter to pool our information.
Unfortunately, I've barely made any progress. I'm still trying to find out what the original lance really looked like.
Let me reassure you, we've all been there, given the number of copies there are in existence. It also took us quite some time to discover its true shape. Many believe the central part of the head of the lance to be covered in gold, whereas, in truth, its center is made of an alloy of copper and iron.
That does make sense. In those times, a centurion wouldn't have any chance of possessing a lance made of gold.
Ah, that is the perversion of Christian idolatry. A copper lance could not have been noble enough to pierce the side of Christ.
Anyway, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Louis. Keep me posted as to your research. We're bound to end up recovering it.
I'm counting on it. See you later. I managed to get the biography of Longinus the Centurion. Let's see what it can teach me. An interesting passage here tells me that the lance is engraved with the symbol of the first Christians, the fish.
And we're basically done. Let's look at our notes. And now to make it into a simpler chart that shows the different attributes that the spear may possess. Now I'm going to put every spear into the chart. The letters are just for identification. For example, spear A is iron, standard shaped, and has a cross on it, while spear B is copper, leaf shaped, and has the Eye of Ra. Now Louis has identified the material as copper, so let's update the chart to reflect that. I crossed out all of the options that aren't copper, which coincidentally eliminates all the cross and sun emblem. So we have some conflicting information about this shape. It could either be boar shaped or regular shaped. So all we can do is cross out leaf shape, and that only leaves us two options, E and D. However, we were told that the spear has a fish on it, which means that the spear we are looking for is spear D. Now, which one is spear D, you may be asking? Oh, spear D, it had to be you. The most obvious lance was the correct one after all.
I must be sure of my choice. I cannot get it wrong. Am I absolutely sure this is the one to take?
So that's the end of the chapter. By the way, I think this is a bug because I did find all of the lances and other people have reported the same issue. Sorry again for the audio weirdness. I have to re-record the next section. I don't know, I could have re-recorded this one, but for me it's easier just to put the episode out with its flaws and commit myself to doing better next time. If I try to be too much of a perfectionist, I get bogged down and I might quit halfway through, and that's worse than never starting at all. See you next time when we get a lore dump on what exactly demons are in this universe. Bye-bye.
There's a reason erasers don't work in your heart, and that's because who you are and who you're born wanting to love isn't a mistake. There's a reason erasers don't work in your heart, and that's because who you are and who you're born wanting to love isn't a mistake.